You're with Lauren Laverne, and I'm in the live room with Conor Oberst. Welcome.
Hi, Lauren.
How are you? I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great.
Well, it's great to have you here. We've got 2 new records to talk about, which is great because there's the Record Store Day release, the new track Hundreds of Ways,
Yes.
which we've already played, and of course the new album, which is coming out in May, right?
Yes, May 20th in the States. I'm not sure. Probably the same time here.
I think it's right. We've got it for the 19th, so maybe we get it there because we're special, obviously. So how are people reacting to the new stuff? I mean, have people heard much of it?
I guess they've released one song so far. I think it's going well.
But you must be playing it to friends and stuff.
Yeah.
How are they feeling about it?
They're supportive. They're supportive. My mother likes it a lot.
Oh, good for her. You worked with the fantastic Jonathan Wilson on the new record. How did that come about, the two of you hook up?
Well, we've been friends for, I guess, 5 or 6 years now. I kind of met him through some of my older gang of friends in LA, like Jenny Lewis from Ride Like Kylie and that whole crew. And then kind of they started hanging out with like Jonathan and the guys from Dawes and like this guy Blake Mills, who's like another friend out there. And we always talked about trying to do some music together, and finally got to make a proper record. And he's amazing, like great, plays every instrument really well. And it's just a joy to be in the studio with him. I feel like we communicate very well, and it was amazing.
And the new album's called Upside Down Mountain, which is a fantastic title. Where does it come from?
Well, I guess the way I think of it is just kind of the idea that we're all sort of alone in our heads on our own little mountaintops, and that idea of trying to grapple down the mountain and get to base camp or something like that.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we'll talk a bit more about the album in a moment, but for now, we'd love to hear a song. What are you going to play first?
I was going to play this one called "You Are Your Mother's Child," and it's a little sentimental, and I'd like to apologize for that.
Oh, please don't.
Okay.
What we love.
I remember the day you appeared on this earth, with eyes like the ocean, got blood on my shirt. From my camera angle, it looked like it hurt, but your mama had a big old smile. We drove you home, saw your yellowing skin, packed a few things and drove you back again. Stayed up all night, worrying, wondering what was gonna make it better. Broken bones heal if you set them right. Get your fine-tooth comb from the barber's side. Our love's a protective poison, but you are your mother's child. She'll keep you for a while, but someday you'll be grown, then you'll be on your own. Halloween costume, looking real cute, with your pillowcase full in your astronaut suit. Your cousin the cowboy, he's eyeing your loot. Better watch your Snickers bar. Out on the diamond, then you're up to bat, chewing your big league, adjusting your hat, taking a swing and hearing it crack. Look at that apple fly. Well, tears will dry if you give them time. Life's a roller coaster, keep your arms inside. Fear, that's a big emotion, but you are your mother's child. She'll keep you for a while, but someday you'll be grown, and then you'll be on your own. Posing for pictures, cap in a gown. Summer is coming, you're driving round town. Everyone's asking what you're gonna do now. I know you're gonna make a splash and find you a sweetheart to treat you so kind. Take her to dinner and and kiss her goodnight. What I couldn't teach you, soon you realize she's the only thing that matters. Although he's a bastard, make your papa proud. You're a fine young man, and I got no doubt that you're gonna do this better. 'Cause you are your mother's child, and she had you for a while. Now you are grown, making it on your own. Well, now that you're grown, may you never feel this alone. Merci.
Conor, I'm trying not to cry. That's a really emotional track, a beautiful song. So listen, tell me about making the album. You said that in some ways it was a bit of a deliberate contrast to The People's Key. In what way?
Well, with People's Key, I was really trying to, I guess, use like very dense language, sort of like triple coded. So you'd have to like run it through a machine to understand what the songs were about.
Okay.
And with this one, it's more conversational.
Emotionally direct.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little more human.
All right. So does that translate to instrumentation as well? Because obviously people who know Jonathan Wilson's stuff will know that he uses quite a lot of old school instrumentation on his solo stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's always living in some sort of 70s golden dream, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He plays so many instruments so well, and yeah, I think he comes from a different, a slightly different musical background and aesthetic from where I kind of came from or grew up, and so the record is sort of, I guess, where our interests intersected, he's got a real kind of laid back attitude, like when making a record, and that's the way I always feel about making records. Like, you shouldn't agonize over everything. I mean, it's good that you'll get there eventually, but it doesn't have to be painful the whole time. So he has that sort of approach as well, which I like.
And First Aid Kit provide vocals throughout the album, I think, some backing vocals.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And tell me about working with those girls.
Well, they made their last record with Mike Mogus, who plays in Bright Eyes with me, and our houses are in our studio are kind of all in the same little backyard zone. So I got to know them then, and I sang a song on that record with them, and then subsequently have done several tours and sang with them at different moments, and they're so amazing. The magical sibling harmony.
Yeah.
Je ne sais quoi, you cannot put your finger on, and then they were making their new record, which isn't out yet, but they made it with Mike as well, and
we debuted the first single from actually the other day on the show. It's great.
It's so amazing.
Very lush, beautiful strings.
Yep. So that was like Mike Mogus and Nate Walcott, who's also in Bright Eyes, kind of helped them make that record. So it was very perfect because I was in the other room of the studio, and they just came down the hall and sang on a bunch of songs. Also,
their voices. I mean, like you say, it is that kind of, I think Joe Boyd says, the identical voice boxes is what produces that special kind of quality of siblings singing together.
I mean, I've been around a lot of amazing singers, but they really are. They're a cut above. They're amazing.
Absolutely. So you said that, when it comes to subject matter, obviously we can hear it in the song that you just performed, but that a lot of the songs kind of deal with settling down and finding peace and those ideas. That's a beautiful thing to be able to write about, but I would imagine it's not easy to write about that and be, as you say, that kind of emotionally direct and straightforward, because you kind of put yourself on the line a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
everybody loves a guy who's kind of up there being angsty, but
sure, yeah, I guess so. I've always, I guess some people don't like to mix emotions with music. I know Devo's popular and stuff like that, and
I think what I mean is it's kind of difficult to write about those things without being cliched.
Yes, I actually struggled with that last song I just played. I struggled with whether to put it on the record or not because it did seem, more sentimental, nostalgic than a lot of the other songs. So I didn't know if it made sense. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I like that the record kind of has a pretty wide breadth of different emotions and things, so feelings.
And it's interesting that you say, that last time you were kind of writing lyrically in a much more coded way. Mm. Is your approach different? Is your songwriting approach different? What's your process usually?
It's remarkably always, the basic way has always been the same, which is I start with a vocal melody, and like I'll sit with my guitar or sit with a piano and sort of sing like kind of gobbledygook fake words, and sometimes I have a little tape recorder or whatever, and basically work on the melody till I have it concrete enough, and then I can almost like wherever I am throughout the day, I can hum it to myself silently in my mind, and some songs happen faster than others. But I usually start with the melody because I like the words the rhyme scheme and the phrasing to be, to work well with the melody, to fuse with the melody, which, occasionally I'll write lines down that I like and then try to put them to a melody, but I find that doesn't work.
So that kind of has to lead the way a little bit.
Yeah.
And everything pull in the same direction. There's a really interesting idea in the single Hundreds of Ways, which we played this week on the show. And I think it's a thought that recurs in the lyrics of the album, which is that the idea that happiness is something that you have to kind of work at. Being happy is something that you have to work at.
I've always found that for myself, yes. I think, the world, there's a lot of horror and senselessness and violence and terrible things in the world, but you can either curl up into a ball, or you can exit the stage, or you can like figure out a way to deal with it. And I think so much of it is what your outlook is, what you decide to focus on or place importance upon. So I try to keep it positive.
Or occasionally you can write a sentimental song and
decide
to put it on your album.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a really beautiful track. And we're going to have more live music from you later. But for now, Conor, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're with Lauren Laverne, and I'm back in the live room with Conor Oberst. Thank you very much for staying with us.
Thank you.
So we're just saying, you've been making music for over 2 decades now.
Yes. 20, I guess I made my first sort of record, even though it was just a cassette tape, when I was 13, and I'm 34, so it's been a long haul.
You must feel like you're living in dog years. But also it is, I wonder if it is kind of maybe sets you apart from your peers a little bit, because I would imagine a lot of people your age, because I'm 35, so a little bit older, but kind of grew up on your music.
I guess so, yeah. To some degree. It's, sometimes I feel a lot older than I am, maybe. Mm-hmm. And growing up, I always played in bands with kids that were like 4 or 5 years older than me. So
right, okay.
I kind of feel like I feel like I'm their age.
You've attached to that peer group.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not actually yours. So some of those older songs, what is it like listening back to your music? Because I always think it must be kind of like reading a diary entry from when you were 15 or whatever.
Definitely. There's some embarrassment for sure, and there's some, some of the songs I feel like still stand up. Normally I don't really listen to the records, but occasionally, like if we're getting ready for a tour and we're like, oh, let's play some old songs, and I haven't, revisit them to kind of relearn things. And yeah, it's usually the sound of my voice that bums me out the most. I think some of the songs are better than some of the recordings, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't know. It is trippy. It's like looking at an old picture of yourself where you're like, I know I was that kid with glasses and like weird soccer shorts on or whatever, but like
you can't connect the two.
It's still, there's a bit that feels like another life, another person.
And what about this kind of, people, there's this theory going around now about making really great music and kind of, becoming very good at the thing that you do, that kind of 10,000 hours or whatever it is.
I've been saying that. Yeah, I think
you must
that's
have
true.
Clocked up your 10,000 hours ages ago. Is that the reason that you're so good at what you do?
Well, is that a trick question?
No, it's not a trick question.
No, I do. I've never had any formal training or anything like that. So everything I've learned in music and how to play instruments and sing is all by trial and error. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's important to just keep going and keep doing things, keep making things, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like younger kids that like are in bands are like, how do you get people to listen to you? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, just play wherever you can. Any chance you have to get in front of people and play your music, just do it and keep doing it, and don't let anyone discourage you.
And do you think that there's a thing of, because it's interesting talking to you about, you know, making this record and making the last album and then being kind of quite different and the approach being quite different. There's something about remembering to notice the process and not just kind of going on autopilot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to always, you know, start as much as you can from the beginning again, you know, and like, you know, rediscover music, and definitely don't get set in your ways. I think like the most dangerous position for an artist to be in, I think, is when they believe that they know what their audience wants and they are trying to give it to them. Mm-hmm. You know, then you just, I think, end up making like lesser versions of your old songs or something. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. We've had a few people talking about that recently. Actually, Y Oak was saying something similar. And we also had Damien Gerardo in, who said, I think he got a couple of weeks into the recording of the new album, and Richard Swift, who was producing it, just turned around. People are going to hate this. They were like, let's do it anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that there's something, you know, I think there's a lot of, the proof is in the pudding when records or artists are kind of like divisive, you know, like less people. I find that those artists tend to be the most interesting ones, you know.
They're the ones you remember, that's for sure.
Yeah, and maybe are the ones that are just doing more interesting things, you know.
And tell me about playing live, because you are going to be doing some UK dates this summer.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited. My band is, for at least the first part of the year, is going to be that band Dawes I was talking about. I think I was talking about them earlier.
Okay.
But they're a California band who are great. If you guys haven't heard of them, check them out. Jonathan Wilson produced their first 2 records.
I saw this when I was reading up about you guys working together, and I made a note to go and get their albums.
They have 3 records, and they're all great. And I think that they'll be particularly qualified to play a lot, you know, to take what we did in the studio, what Jonathan played, and
bring it to life.
Exact.
Brilliantly.
So.
Okay, that's very exciting. And you said that like touring isn't as much of a priority for you now as it once was, you know, having done quite a lot of it in the past. Will you be doing less, or what's the plan?
The plan is definitely to be out there a lot this year and, you know, promote the record and do as many shows as possible.
But not burn yourself out.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot.
The tricky balance.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we wish you the best of luck with that, and really excited about the shows. Yes, and we have to look that record up. The album is coming out in May, and the new single, of course, is out for Record Store Day, which is the 19th of April. So is Hundreds of Ways the second track that you're going to play for us today?
Yes, it is.
And can you tell me anything about writing this song or recording this song?
Well, I will say that the way I'm about to play it on this guitar sounds a lot different on the record, so I don't know if that's of interest or not.
That's great. We're getting a special version. It's an exclusive. It's good news. Conor Oberst live on BBC Six Music. Over to you.
Thank you. What a thing to be a witness to the sunshine. What a dream to just be walking on the ground. What a time to live among the ashen remnants of a love that came before. I'm still looking for that now. It took centuries to build these twisted cities. It took seconds to reduce them down to dust. And all the tour guide could say was take your pictures, folks, it's late. Try your best, please, to remember what was done. Don't look so forlorn, don't you look so scared. Don't get so upset, this world was never fair. But there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways, so you just find one. I used to think that time was of the essence, and I just wish I could get some sleep. Oh, the strange parade of sounds the city makes when I lock down, little explosions that set fire to my dreams. Sometimes I get mistaken for this actor, and I guess that I can see it from the side. Maybe no one really seems to be the person that they mean to be. I hope I am forgotten when I die. Don't contradict me, don't make me cross the line. If you feel threatened, that's only 'cause I might. But there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways, so you best find one. All my heroes, they're all talk, running in circles, some stopwatch, some chaos. Love was the message, full stop. We ramble on and on. We ramble on and on. Well, I stole all the rhinestones out of Carolina, and then I sold them out in Bakersfield for cash. I guess the band shell got its band, sounds like an arcade in Japan. Blew all my quarters trying to get that feeling back. Any sucker can turn boredom into violence. A sociopath riding on a bus, and his irises are black from his novelty contacts. He looks around, but he can't see the rest of us. In my sunglasses, I don't mind the blinding light. Yeah, it's getting dark, bro, but I've always loved the night. And there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways to get through the day. Just find one.
Absolutely love that track. Thank you so much, Conor.
Thank you, Lauren.
Such a pleasure to see you. Thank you very much for coming in. The new album, Upside Down Mountain, is due out over here on the 19th of May. And you just heard the single Hundreds of Ways, limited edition 7-inch, coming out for Record Store Day on April the 19th. Thanks again.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Oh, so good to have you here. My producer, Ellie, came through, I think it was only last week, and said, how do you feel about Conor Oberst and Bright Eyes? And I squealed at that point and went, oh, I love him. And she went, well, would you like him to come in session? I was like, yes, please. And it's great to have you here now. So thank you.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
Do you know, I think I saw you, I've only seen you live once, and I think it was possibly Glastonbury. Were you wearing a white suit at a Glastonbury performance you once did?
Yes, absolutely.
And it was the worst weather in the world. I remember that it was raining.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I do know that the white suit was probably the worst thing to be wearing at Glastonbury, and it was quite a riotous performance that you did there.
Yeah, that was like the Bright Eyes Casadega sort of world tour, and we had all these white suits, and we projected, kind of the old school hippie vibe where you have the overhead projector with the oil, and you make the kind of psychedelic things onto the suits, like being the canvas, which was a great idea and worked for a while, but then once you're like on the festival circuit in Europe, you know, look down at yourself and you see all these gross like yellow and brown stains, and there's nowhere to like get it cleaned, and you keep pulling it back out of the trailer, and you're like, oh man, I gotta put that on again today. And it becomes like very disgusting. So
Yeah.
you probably saw us at our
You
maybe our most
were quite white and
disgusting.
sparkly when I saw you, I think, actually, but probably mud spattered at that time. So yeah, I'm glad that you've got in a trip to the good old English pub already. You've just done it after sound check.
Yes. We've been touring the pubs of London,
Most important.
and they're fabulous.
When did you first come over to the UK? What memories have you got?
When I first ever came over to the UK?
When you came to the UK, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I was 19 years old. Came here for the first time and played, and it blew my mind, you know.
What was that? What album would that have been?
It would have been, I guess it would have been a record called, let's see, Letting Off the Happiness.
Okay.
Which was like right before, basically came over here once right before we put out this record called Fevers and Mirrors, and we came over here, Bright Eyes. This is Mike and I, and a really great guy from Belgium flew us over, had like heard our record, and then we ended up meeting this on the little trip we did, which wasn't much of a tour, but we ended up meeting this guy Mark Bowen who runs Wichita Records, and he was like become one of my lifelong friends, and it was a bit sad because this Belgian guy, this guy George, who was really cool, but he brought us over, and then inevitably here came the Englishman from the more prominent label, showed up at the show, and
you were seduced?
Yes,
you were seduced.
deeply seduced, and then that was the end.
That was the end of that friendship.
Yes, that was the end of the Belgium label relationship, and then we
But so were you bright-eyed and excited at that point? And did you know what you wanted? Did you want world domination? What was the agenda? Did you have a plan?
I don't know. I mean, I was just I don't know. I guess I was just happy to be, you know, that far away from home and like seeing the world. I didn't really think much about, you know, the music business part of it. You know, it's more of like the adventure of like being out with our friends and you know, just doing and seeing all this crazy unknown.
Were you like a tourist when you came here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I still am, I think.
Because some bands just kind of stay in the hotel rooms, and then others genuinely do take
Yeah.
advantage of where they are, and they'll send postcards home, and they'll go and check out the galleries and things
Yeah.
like that. You do that, or is it just the pubs?
Mostly just the pubs.
Just the pubs.
No, I mean, I've been to some museums, and I've never actually been up in the Eye of London yet, but
Oh, the London Eye.
I just heard that you can like do shows up there or something.
Yeah, people have performed in those. Yeah.
So I don't know why I haven't done that.
Well, you're back in July.
Yeah.
That can be arranged.
Exactly.
We could do the radio show from the London Eye. That's
Exactly.
a done deal.
There's somebody from the label here, Matthew.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
But you're going to play a track from the new album, which is coming out. And the album, it features First Aid Kit, who I've got as my record of the week, bizarrely.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're my great friends and truly some of the best singers I've ever encountered. And I've been around a lot of amazing singers, but they have that incredible sibling harmony magic, which is, you know, cannot be bought or recreated.
And you've got it on your album.
And I have it on there.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for music, I think. So Conor Oberst on Radio 2. Take it away.
Right. What a thing to be a witness to the sunshine. What a dream to just be walking on the ground. What a time to live among the ashen remnants of a love that came before. I'm still looking for that now. It took centuries to build these twisted cities. It took seconds to reduce them down to dust. All the tour guide could say was take your pictures, folks, it's late, and try your best please to remember what was done. Don't look so forlorn, don't you look so scared. Don't get so upset, this world was never fair. But there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways, so you just find one. I used to think that time was of the essence. Now I just wish I could get some sleep. Oh, the strange parade of sounds the city makes when I lie down. Little explosions that set fire to my dreams. Sometimes I get mistaken for this actor, and I guess that I can see it from the side. Maybe no one really seems to be the person that they mean to be. I hope I am forgotten when I die. Don't contradict me, don't make me cross the line. If you feel threatened, that's only 'cause I might. But there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways, so you best find one. All my heroes, they're all talk, running in circles, some stopwatch, some chaos. Love was the message, full stop. We ramble on and on. We ramble on and on. Hey. I stole all the rhinestones out of Carolina, and then I sold them out in Bakersfield for cash. I guess the band shell got its band, sound like an arcade in Japan. Blew all my quarters trying to get that feeling back. Now any sucker can turn boredom into violence. Just a sociopath riding on a bus, and his irises are black from his novelty contacts. He looks around, but he can't see the rest of us. In my sunglasses, I don't mind the blinding light. Oh, it's getting dark, bro, but I've always loved the night. And there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. Yes, there are hundreds of ways to get through the day. There are hundreds of ways to get through the day. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways to get through the day. Just find one.
Sitting here with mile-wide smiles watching Conor Oberst play live in session on Radio 2. That was Hundreds of Ways, and it's from the new album that's coming out. It's called Upside Down Mountain, which I'm actually having to read upside down because you've done that trick thing with your album here. Yeah, very good. We'll have lots more in the next half hour talking to Conor Oberst, and also he'll do a classic track as well. For now, though, this is BBC Radio 2 online, on digital radio and on 88 to 91 FM. It's Cure on Radio 2. It's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock, and that was Just Like Heaven. And we played that because we knew that our session guest tonight loves The Cure, and in particular that song, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. One of the best songs ever written, in my opinion.
This is Conor Oberst, by the way, I should say that. So you discovered The Cure. Was that one of the first songs that you bought?
The very first musical purchase that I ever made myself, in the sense of, like, I had my allowance money, and I went to the store, like, with my older brothers, and I got I got Standing on the Beach, like the singles collection on cassette tape,
Of course.
which was amazing because it had the B-sides with all the B-sides from the singles, which, like, if you got it on, I think, CD, it didn't have all those. And so it was like one of those extra long extended cassette tapes, and I think I played it like to where it just like broke one day after years
on
and
a
years.
beloved cassette player in your bedroom,
exactly.
probably.
My little boombox, like my little tiny boombox.
Yeah,
that was
and like, did you have like a tower of cassettes by the side as well, like a wall?
Yeah. Eventually, but that was like the first one,
the very first one.
Yeah.
So in your household and your family, how many brothers have you got, and what's your family like?
2 older brothers, and definitely like that sort of era of I guess you'd call it, like, now it's called, I guess, like classic alternative or whatever, but it was sort of
that's true.
Like, there was a show on MTV, still is probably somewhere, but 120 Minutes, which was like the main alternative video show on MTV, and
that was influential to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can remember, like, my brother and his friends, they would like hang out and watch it. It came on kind of late, I think, on like Sunday nights, and I would like sort of try to stay up and like see as much of it, but like, The Cure, Smiths, like REM, Replacements.
But you played with REM. You went on to
eventually years later. Yes.
Yeah, but you got there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that you in that bedroom listening to a cassette.
Yeah.
What would they have thought?
I know, right? It's like it's a strange world. Like, because I count Michael Stipe as like an actual real friend of mine nowadays, but when I was 10 years old or whatever, I would have never.
You would have freaked.
Never guessed.
How is he these days? Is he all right? He's been on the show a few times.
Yeah, he's doing good. I know he's getting ready. I think he's going to do something for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Coming up. Like, I don't know if this is like, I don't want to break news. I think this is like been announced.
Oh, go on. But I really don't mind if you do. What, performing wise?
No, I think he's going to induct Nirvana into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and last time I talked to him, he was excited about that. So that's pretty great.
He seemed quite liberated by the end of REM in the end, because it was their decision. They did it on their terms. He seemed in a very happy state.
Yeah.
I could see the cogs of your brain turning. Then you were just like, "What have I started to say here? Should I really be doing this?"
I was like, he didn't tell me I couldn't say it, so I don't. I'm sure it's been announced. I'm sure it's been announced.
It's all out there. It's fine now. Well, it is now. The album, you recorded it in Nashville, is this right?
Partly, like L.A., Omaha, and Nashville. Yeah.
So does it have a country kind of influence, or?
I mean, there's some pedal steel guitar on it, and there's some. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some folk country elements to it, but it's not like any kind of revival type situation. I hope that it sounds like a record that was made in 2014 and 13, hopefully.
And what stories is it telling of your life? What are you writing about?
Well, it's kind of the same old stuff, how the old
sell it.
the old adage of we all sing the same song over and over again. So just kind of whatever.
Are there personal songs on there? Are you kind of telling stories the things that have happened to you recently, or your state of mind, or?
I mean, to me it's all like the human condition, and just that all those existential dilemmas we can't get away from,
that we battle with on a daily basis. Okay, so let me just read out some of the messages that have come through. Mark in Warrington, Conor is a genius, can't wait for the Manchester Cathedral gig, and then off to see him in New York as well.
Cool.
Cathedral, that's going to be quite lovely for you to play.
I'm excited, yeah.
I've been, in fact, Elbow played in that cathedral, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place with a very rock and roll vicar as well, or reverend, or whatever he's called. Yeah, no, he's really cool. He was very good.
Awesome.
Bought the Bright Eyes album when you championed them years ago. This is great. That's from Phil, who's in Lancashire. Robin, oh my God, my 18-year-old self is freaking out to hear Bright Eyes again. So good to hear Conor on form. You seem in a really good place. Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'm making the best of it. Yeah.
Okay, now the song you're going to do next, there's a guy called James Corden who in the UK is pretty successfully presented the Brit Awards. He's a comedian, he's an actor, he's very successful. And he was on Desert Island Discs a couple of years ago. And he was saying that when he was really younger, he was driving his car and he heard me doing this radio show and I played First Day of My Life. Yeah. And he just pulled off at the first opportunity, found the nearest record store and he went in and he bought that record and he was just reduced to tears. And he played it on Desert Island Discs as his favourite song, his first song. And he was like, I just love that song so much. So that's just kind of setting the scene for everybody that's listening at the moment, for you to know the kind of impact that this song has had on so many people. So you're going to do it, yeah? You're not pulling out of doing it now?
No, absolutely. And I also heard Joe that, the person from my record company told me that I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe you were the first person or one of the first people to play this on
I've certainly played it more than any other song, I think, in my career.
On the radio here in England, and I want to thank you for that. So
pleasure
so much. And here we go. This is the first day of my life. Think I was born right in the doorway. I went out in the rain, suddenly everything changed. They're spreading blankets on the beach. Yours is the first face that I saw. Maybe I was blind before I met you. I don't know where I am, I don't know where I've been, but I know where I'd like to go. So I thought I'd let you know. And these things take forever, I especially am slow. But I realized that I need you. I wondered if I could come home. Remember the time you drove all night just to come find me in the morning? And it sounded so strange, you said everything changed. You felt as if you had just woke up. Then you said, this is the first day of my life. I'm glad I didn't die before I met you. But now I wouldn't care, I'd go anywhere with you. And I think I'd be happy. So if you want to stick with me, with these things there's no telling, child, we'll have to wait and see. But I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery. Besides, maybe this time is different. I mean, I'm really feeling lucky.
Well, to have one of your favourite all-time songs played live in your radio studio is probably the dream of any broadcaster. Thank you very much indeed. That was Conor Oberst doing First Day of My Life. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks so much for having me.
Liz, is it true that you were up for the main role in Inside Llewyn Davis? You've talked about this.
Yes.
Were you really?
Yes. Me amongst many other musicians. But the Coen brothers were looking for either, they were considering musicians that could possibly act, and then actors that could, do the musical component of the movie. And I guess they ended up being very frustrated until they found Oscar Isaac, who did an amazing job. And he had been a musician for a long time, and then went into acting, so it was kind of a perfect fit for him. So
what are your acting skills like?
I was in a few plays as a child, Tales of the Arabian Nights and a few other ones, but no, I have no acting skill. And yeah,
did you have to act? Did you do the audition?
I did. I got like I got the script or the scene in the mail, and I had to learn it. And,
but it was nerve-wracking.
Oh, it was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of my life. And like, go in there, and then they, it's like the casting director, and they film you, and you act it out. And I'm sure I was like beyond terrible. So
it must be so weird because you know that you can sing, you're a musician, but to be suddenly put outside of your field of comfort must be
totally. I mean, it's something like I really have no ambition to do that at all. But it's sort of like when the Coen brothers like ask you to do something, you just kind of do it.
Of course you do, yeah.
So, but it was a cool experience.
And how did they break it to you that you didn't get the part? Did you get a text? Did you get a call?
I think it was just like I heard nothing. But then they were sweet. They did a big concert in New York as part of the film.
Yeah, I was invited to that. I think.
Yeah, so I got to play at that and like like hang out with them and like T-Bone Burnett and all the people that worked on the film. So and I've got to be buddies with Oscar and so it was all in all, it was a great experience.
Great things came out of it, yeah. Outside of music, what do you do? Is there anything? Do you have any hobbies or any pursuits?
Well, I'm looking for some. I think I think I'm a scientist at heart. And I got to find a big enough telescope.
Look at some stars.
Yeah, exactly. But the really good telescopes you have to like study for years to even get to look through.
Have you got a telescope?
I do, but it's not very powerful, unfortunately.
It's been lovely having you on the show. And when are you back in the UK then? So
July. We're playing the Latitude Festival.
Latitude Festival, yeah, great festival.
Yeah, and then I think we're doing some shows at Coco here in London.
That's in Camden, London, yeah.
At some point. And and like we were talking about before, Dawes is going to be my band, and they're going to be opening the shows, and they're really amazing. So
Dawes I played just before Conor came on and chatted. So and the next track I'm playing is another of your choices, and it's Courtney Barnett. So can you just tell us a little bit about this?
I mean, I don't know much about her other than I heard this song on the radio like several months ago, and it was one of those moments where it caught my ear enough where I was like, who is this? And figured it out, and then was like, okay, that's amazing, and kind of didn't think about it for another month or so. And then the label in the States that are reissuing, because I think she did like a couple EPs herself, like she's from Australia, and like maybe self-released. So the label in America that's re-releasing them as like a package, like the guy that works there sent me the record and said like, I think you'd really like this. And then I was like, yes, I do.
I love it.
I already do really like this. But this is the first song I heard of hers, and I just think she's a great poet and a great songwriter.
It's
and
good talk up.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear it.
After this, and what are you doing? Off to the pub again?
What's that?
Are you going to the pub again after this? What do you drink at the pub, by the way?
I mean, well, we had a Stella last time, but I mean.
Maybe second Stella of the night.
Maybe. I don't know, whenever your show's over, but you got to come.
Oh, I'll come to the grimy pub with you too. Right, Conor. Right, this is Courtney Barnett next. This is Avant Gardener.